They say a cat has 9 lives. I think I've used up a few of mine just getting here. My name is Leo, and my story didn't start in a warm house with a soft bed. It started in the wild, under the vast, unforgiving sky. The world, for me, was a swirl of greens and browns, a symphony of rustling leaves and distant bird calls. I was a hunter, quick and quiet, my life dictated by the rhythm of the sun and moon. One day, everything changed. It wasn't a sudden crash or a loud noise. It was a slow, creeping shadow that began to dim my world. At first, I thought it was just a cloudy day, but the clouds never left. The vibrant greens of the forest faded into a dull grey, then to nothing at all. The world I knew, the world of sight, was gone. Darkness became my constant companion. Fear was the first thing I felt, a raw, paralyzing fear. How could I hunt? How could I find water? How could I escape the dangers that lurked in the shadows I could no longer see? Every snap of a twig sent a jolt of terror through me. The familiar sense of my territory suddenly felt alien and threatening. I was lost in my own home. For days I barely moved, huddled under a thick bush, my stomach twisting with hunger and my heart pounding with dread. The world had become a monster, and I was its helpless prey. I was convinced my story was over. But then something shifted. Maybe it was the gnawing hunger, or maybe it was a flicker of the spirit that had kept me alive all this time. I realized that cowering in fear wasn't living. It was just waiting for the end. I had to do something. I had to learn to live in this new world. My other senses, long overshadowed by my sight, began to sharpen. It was like discovering hidden superpowers I never knew I had. My ears became my new eyes. I started to map the world through sound. The gentle gurgle of the stream told me where to find water. The specific rustle of a mouse in the undergrowth was different from the scuttling of a beetle. I learned to distinguish the whisper of the wind through pine needles from the sound it made in oak leaves. Each sound painted a picture in my mind, creating a detailed audio landscape. I could see a tree by the way the wind wrapped around its trunk, or a clearing by the echo of my own soft footsteps. My whiskers became my radar, my personal navigation system. They were no longer just for show. Brushing them against a branch, I could feel its texture, its thickness. They warned me of obstacles, guiding me through dense thickets without a single scratch. The ground beneath my paws spoke to me, I could feel the difference between soft earth, loose gravel, and damp moss. The vibrations told me if something was approaching long before I could hear it. I learned to walk with a new kind of confidence, my paws, whiskers, and ears working in perfect harmony. Hunting was the ultimate test. It was no longer a game of sight and pounce. It was a game of patience, sound, and precision. I would stay perfectly still for what felt like hours, my ears twitching, scanning the symphony of the forest floor. I'd listen for that one tiny sound, that subtle disturbance in the rhythm, the faint scratch of a claw, the quiet munching on a seed. Then I would lock onto the sound, judge the distance, and pounce. My first successful hunt in the darkness was more than just a meal. It was a victory. It was proof that I could survive. I wasn't just a blind cat. I was a hunter, reborn. Life was still hard. There were close calls, moments of disorientation, and a constant loneliness. But the world of sight was a memory, a ghost that sometimes haunted my dreams with vibrant colors I could no longer see. But I was alive. I was a survivor. My blindness hadn't been an end. It had been a transformation. It stripped away one sense, only to awaken and strengthen all the others. I was more attuned to the world, more connected to the subtle language of the wild than ever before. One day, a new scent drifted on the breeze. It was strange, a mix of things I didn't recognize, and with it came a new sound, a soft, gentle voice. Curiosity, a feeling I hadn't allowed myself in a long time, pulled me forward. I followed the voice, my whiskers twitching, my ears perked. The voice got closer, speaking in warm, soothing tones. I felt a gentle hand reach out, not to grab, but to offer. It was a human. My wild instincts screamed at me to run, to disappear back into the shadows that were now my sanctuary. But something in that voice, something in that gentle touch, held me there. It felt safe. It felt like hope. For the first time since the darkness fell, I didn't feel like I was alone. I let her scoop me up, my body tense but my spirit surprisingly calm. This was a new chapter, a new kind of wild I had never known. Now my world is different again. It's filled with soft blankets, the reliable sound of a food bowl being filled, and the constant, comforting presence of my human. I still navigate by sound and touch. I map out every room, every piece of furniture. A creak in the floorboard tells me she's walking to the kitchen. The soft click of the remote tells me she's settling on the couch. I can find my favorite sunbeam just by the warmth on my fur. My blindness is a part of who I am, but it doesn't define me. It's a testament to the strength that lies within all of us, the ability to adapt and overcome. My journey from the wild was a journey through fear and into courage. It taught me that even when the world goes dark, you can learn to see in other ways. You can find your own light. My name is Leo, and this is my story, and it's far from over. Thank you for listening to my tale. If my story touched you, please give this video a like and consider subscribing to hear more stories of resilience and hope. Every life has a story worth telling. We'll see you in the next one.